I knew my sister didn't believe me. She never said it directly, but I could see it in the way she watched me. The questions that sounded casual but weren't. The pauses when I spoke about work, money, or plans. She was always measuring my words, looking for cracks. Hey, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Your support means everything and helps me keep creating. Thank you so much. I had told her nothing. No details about my income. No talk about investments. No mention of the inheritance. Just a quiet, ordinary life on the surface. But for someone like her, silence is suspicious. One afternoon, she called out of nowhere. Too cheerful. What are you up to these days? She asked. Work. Same as always, I replied. She hummed. You're very secretive lately. I laughed lightly. Or maybe you're very curious. She didn't laugh back. That's when I knew something was off. A week later, I noticed a car parked across the street from my apartment. Dark windows. Same spot. Different times of day. At first, I ignored it. Then I saw the same man twice at the cafe I visit every morning. He wasn't good at pretending. My stomach tightened. I took photos discreetly and sent them to a friend who works in security. Within an hour, he called me back. Someone's watching you, he said. Looks like private surveillance. I went quiet. Do you know who would hire someone to follow you? Yes, but I didn't say her name out loud. That evening, my sister called again. Random question, she said casually. You still go to that cafe near your place? I smiled slowly. Yes, I said. Why? No reason. There it was. Confirmation. She had hired private investigators to dig into my life, to prove I was lying, to find evidence that I had hidden money, secret assets, something she could use. She thought she was being clever. What she didn't realize was that private investigators don't just watch the target. They document everything connected to the case. And my sister had made one very stupid mistake. She used her real name when hiring them. 3 days later, I received a call from an unknown number. Is this your name? A professional voice asked. Yes. This is Daniel from Falcon Investigations. We were hired regarding you. I think you should know something. I stayed very calm. Go on. There seems to be a conflict of interest. My heart slowed instead of racing, because I already sensed where this was going. We were asked to investigate your financial activity, but during background checks, we uncovered irregularities linked to the client herself. I leaned back in my chair. What kind of irregularities? A pause. Tax filings that don't match declared income. Undisclosed business transactions. Funds routed through personal accounts that shouldn't be there. I closed my eyes briefly. She had tried to expose me, but in the process, she had exposed herself. And the investigators had everything documented. Without realizing it, she had paid professionals to build a case against her. I didn't interrupt him. I let Daniel speak. Normally, we would never contact the subject of an investigation, he said carefully. But this situation is unusual. What we found about your sister is far more serious than anything she asked us to look for about you. I kept my voice neutral. Serious how? She's been running money through personal accounts that don't align with her declared business income. There are shell transactions, transfers that look like attempts to avoid tax reporting, and it's all tied directly to her name. I felt an odd mix of shock and clarity. Shock, because I hadn't expected it to be this bad. Clarity, because suddenly everything about her recent behavior made sense. The new car, the sudden spending, the unexplained confidence, the way she kept hinting that I must be hiding money as if she was projecting her own secret onto me. She hired us to prove you were hiding assets, Daniel continued. But the deeper we dug into her claim, the more her own financial trail stood out. We can't ignore it. What happens now? I asked. We're obligated to file a report. If authorities request our findings, we have to provide them. There it was. She had started something she couldn't control. I thanked him calmly and ended the call. For a long time, I just sat there. She hadn't hired investigators because she was curious. She had hired them because she was afraid that if I had hidden money, I might somehow expose hers. Afraid that I knew something, but I hadn't. Until now. 2 days later, my sister showed up at my apartment, unannounced. Her face was pale, eyes restless. Have you talked to anyone? She asked immediately. I opened the door wider. About what? She stepped inside. About me. I tilted my head. Why would I? She hesitated. No reason. I watched her carefully. This wasn't the confident, calculating sister I knew. This was someone panicking. They called me, she said. Finally. Who? The investigators. I stayed silent. They said they're ending the contract, that they found things unrelated to you. Her voice shook slightly. Did you say something to them? I shook my head slowly. I didn't need to. That line landed. She stared at me, trying to read my face. You know, don't you? I know you tried to spy on me. I replied calmly. That's enough. She started pacing. This is bad. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You thought I was hiding money. Turns out you were. Her shoulders dropped. That was the first time she didn't deny it. She just stood there, quiet, like a person realizing the walls were closing in. They might report it, she whispered. I didn't respond, because that was the part she couldn't escape. She had invited professionals into her life, people trained to trace financial trails, people who document everything, and she paid them herself. Over the next week, things unraveled quickly. She stopped posting online, stopped going out, avoided calls. My parents started asking me if I knew why she seemed stressed. I didn't say a word. Then one afternoon, my father called me, voice tense. Did you know your sister is being audited? I closed my eyes. So it had started. No, I said calmly. Why? They're asking about her business accounts, old transactions, transfers. I could hear the panic in his breathing. She says someone reported her. I didn't correct him, because no one had reported her. She had reported herself. By hiring people to investigate me, she had triggered a chain of professional scrutiny that led straight back to her. And now, there was a paper trail she couldn't erase. A month later, the audit turned into formal charges. My sister stopped blaming me. She knew this wasn't my doing. She had pulled professionals into a situation driven by suspicion and greed. They followed the evidence. It led back to her. One evening, she texted me. I was trying to prove you were lying. I replied, you proved something else instead. She never answered. I didn't feel victory, just a quiet lesson settling in. She tried to uncover secrets that didn't exist and uncovered the ones she should have kept buried.